Does God get angry? Yes, he does. And when God becomes angry, does he lose his character? No, he does not. He sees the evil in this world and he is angry about it, but he is slow to anger so that we're given every opportunity to be made right and to be reconciled with him. It's good stuff, isn't it? It's good stuff. Aren't you glad that God is slow to anger? So what do you do with this, right? How do you leave this place and go into your Monday morning and live any differently because of this truth? Let me just give you a couple ideas. First of all, I would encourage you this week, maybe every morning this week when you wake up, just stop for a moment and just say, God, thank you for being slow to anger with me. Just make it a very personal thing. I mean, if the idea of being in a relationship with God is new to you, or whether you've been a Christ follower for years and years, it still applies, right? Regardless, God has been slow to anger with you. And you can say, David, how can you say that? You don't know my life. You're still here. You're still here. And maybe if you're far from God, and you're not, haven't been really interested in a relationship with God, this truth is something you should really begin to consider. God is slow to anger with me. And that's a really good thing. And for those of us who've committed to follow Christ, man, nobody lives under the promise that God has slowed his anger to accomplish his purposes more than a follower of Jesus Christ, right? I mean, I hang my hat on that truth, don't you? Romans tells us as much, right? Because when Jesus died on a cross to pay the penalty for your sin and for mine, he experienced the full measure of God's wrath for you and for me. Y'all, let me just tell you, as a person who is a follower of Jesus Christ, my hope is based on one thing, and that's the saving work of Jesus Christ. And I'm so thankful that Jesus came willingly to say, the punishment that David deserves, I will bear. The price that David owes, I will pay because he cannot. And Jesus has accomplished for you and for me what the law could never accomplish. He's fully paid the penalty of our sin for us. So no matter who you are, right? Whether you're far from God and God's not even on your radar screen right now, or whether you're a Christ follower, it'd be wise to say, God, thank you for being slow to anger and for the wonderful gift of Jesus, who willingly gave up the wonder and glory of heaven to pay the penalty for my sin. I can't imagine a better thing to just be thankful for all week long than the truth that God is slow to anger. So that's one thing that I would say that we ought to be doing this week. Let me give you one more thing that we ought to be doing with this truth. When it comes to anger, you all, can we all just pray, God, please give me a long nose. God, please give me a long nose. Help me to just slow down. So when that moment of anger comes, by the time it works it down to the end, it's not this nasty, terrible explosion. It's just, Proverbs talks about this. A patient person shows great understanding, but a quick-tempered one promotes foolishness. It's really true. When something triggers you, are you that person right now that you just fly into a major rager? That's just who you are. Man, your nose is like that long, right? I mean, as soon as that anger forms, boom, everybody around you is going to pay the price. So here's what I would encourage you to do. If that's you, just ask, how am I going to channel the way that I feel about this so that good results? Because that's what God does, right? God doesn't lose his character in moments of anger. Because of his character, he is slow to anger to achieve his purposes. So in those moments of anger, I don't want to lose my character. I still want to accomplish what God has for me.